morning and welcome once again to Musselburgh Congregational Church. God has made his word very, very clear to us today. It is be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or discouraged, for the Lord your God is with you. And these words do give us courage, inner peace and strength when we embrace them. Only then can we rest in the light of their truth. We can face our greatest challenge, whatever this is, not because of who we are or because we have a great faith, but because of who God is and because he knows us, he loves us, he cares for us, and he will carry us through. Let us reflect on that beautiful piece of music. Be still. Trusting God in the face of fear is not easy. Fear tests our faith. Fear has the power to stop us in our tracks and paralyze us, and this is exactly what happened to the ancient Israelites on the first occasion that they came to the border of the Promised Land. God had listened to his people's prayers. He had heard their cries until he could listen no more, and he intervened by sending Moses to confront Pharaoh with these words. God says, "Let my people go." But Pharaoh rebelled, and it was only after the Egyptian people, the land and the livestock had suffered the consequences of 10 plagues that eventually Pharaoh did as God had asked and let his people go. Even the sea wasn't a barrier to the Exodus. At God's command, the sea receded, making it possible for the Israelites to cross safely, and the waves returning only once they were past and overwhelmed the Egyptian army. The Israelites were free at last. They made tremendous progress, and very quickly, in fact in less than 2 weeks, they had reached the border of the Promised Land. God had brought them safe thus far, and God would lead them home. However, this is the point where it all went very wrong. God instructed Moses to choose 12 leaders, one leader from each of the 12 tribes, and they were told to go into the land and explore it and come back with a full report and some fruit from the land. Well, 2 of these leaders were Joshua and Caleb, and they kept their focus on the greatness of God. And this was their report: the inhabitants of the land are well built and they do look strong, and the city is fortified. However, we can do this. We should enter the land. God will lead us. He will give us the land. We must not be afraid. God is with us. What a report, what faith. However, the other 10 leaders were terrified. They felt like grasshoppers in comparison to the large, strong men that they had seen in this new land. Surely they would be overcome. And when they gave their report, it wasn't long until word spread throughout the whole camp, and the whole of Israel was gripped by fear. People were wailing, even wishing that they could just return to Egypt. Surely it hadn't been that bad. How foolish we are when we have our backs to God instead of our face. How foolish we are not to trust in His unfailing word. As I've said before, when God is for us, who or what can be against us? After the death of Moses, it was Joshua who led the nation into the land, and God gave him these words, and they will be very familiar by now. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God is with you. So I hope that you and I both can rest in these words today, because they are for us and they are true for today and for tomorrow and for the days to come. Nothing in the heavens or the earth can separate us from the love of God. Amen. It's been a lovely time of worship with you this morning, and we finish with the most beautiful piece of music. It was filmed some time ago in our church, but I know you'll enjoy it. You Raise Me Up.